Leave it on, it might interrupt it, it'll be fun. So we're recording now. Hello, okay. This is Max Fletcher. Hello. How you doing?
Very well, indeed, actually.
So, interview. Oh, see, there is my phone. What do you want to know?
What do I want to know?
Yeah.
I want to know. Sorry, am I interviewing you?
Yeah, that's essentially the thing. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, fine. All right.
It's just a text saying I'm driving.
What do I want to know? I want to know just exactly how long you've been performing.
Well, I've been performing about 6-7 years, I suppose. I did my first gig when I was 19, and I've been doing my usual set since about 2000 and I think I say 2010. So maybe 2009. I don't know.
Okay.
But quite a while now.
Yeah.
This is my, I think, 7th or 8th Fringe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, blimey O'Reilly.
Yeah,
and have you ever done a solo hour?
No.
No.
No, I've not. I've done. I could do, I reckon, but it wouldn't be very good.
Oh.
I'm going to do it next year, I think. I really want
right.
to. I want it to be really good and weird. But I don't want to do the sort of the thing that people do these days, which is do the half hour and the 40 minutes and then sort of drag it out. I really want to get into
like
doing
a newcomer thing.
Yeah. I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and that was kind of my strategy. Well, I mean, I guess I sort of did my first hour last year. It was more like 40 minutes, but I intended it to be an hour, and it was just a really great way to kind of get into writing, just to sort of sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to write an hour. I'm just going to do it. It's like sort of discipline. It's a kind of writing exercise, and I got a lot of bad material out of it, to be brutally honest. But I got a lot of good stuff, and it was very instructive. So yeah, it's a very helpful thing to do, to just launch straight into it. But yeah, so your early gigs. What were they like? Slash, what was the sort of situation you were doing them in?
The first one was that we prepared at school, and I had to sort of write loads of double act script the night before. I didn't really do stand up necessarily, but we just wrote. I just suddenly realised we wrote loads of sketches for like a charity night, and then realised we didn't have enough stuff to sort of link between them. Yeah. So I wrote about 5 little double acts with me and mate Hugh. Done really well. I used to do lots of public speaking at school as well, like little speeches and things.
Okay, debating that sort of thing.
But then when I started doing the actual gigs, it took me. Oh, what did I do first? I remember my first one here. I completely died. I had to go home to my mate and be like, I assumed I did my first gig actually was in the Pleasance Cabaret Bar, comparing my first proper one.
Oh my god!
I compared that.
Jesus Christ!
Thinking, oh yeah, it'll be easy, and it went really well. But it was just with friends.
Yeah.
But then I tried doing material. I always assumed you just walk on stage and say something and it'll be funny. It's not like that.
No, not at all.
Not at all. You have to really think about it. But then this one, you've seen my set this year, haven't you?
Oh sure, I will. Yeah. The one you did at Alex.
Yeah. That one I've only done 20 times now.
Okay.
Which is just at the Fringe.
Oh really?
Yeah. Did it once before, but that was a longer set. It was like a half-hour headliner thing. Yeah. I was doing something a bit more complex with it.
Oh, sure.
It was Alzheimer's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yowza. Great.
Yowza indeed. Yowza
was it one of those classic Alzheimer's gigs where halfway through the comedian forgets what he's saying?
No, it wasn't. I didn't even touch upon forgetting things.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Because I hate that. I really hate that gag.
Yeah. Everyone does it and they think it's funny. It's like so. And list gets so yeah. I'm not quite sure actually how to properly explain what kind of joke this is, but yesterday I saw a comedian called Christian Schulterloh, German comedian, free show, Attack of the 50-Foot German comedian. Yeah, this weird show, and I thought it'd be really wacky and really crazy and quite bad, but it turned out to be disappointingly professional and quite competent. And there was one joke which was, it's similar to like an Alzheimer's joke, the comedian forgetting what they're saying halfway through. It was like a list of things that, a man must never do. He must never, let a lady pay for her supper at a restaurant. He must never leave a list unfinished.
Lovely.
That kind of, self-referential joke I kind of usually dislike.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just an aside. So so you've been doing this thing. You've done this particular set 20 times, and what's the sort of pace of your? I mean, a lot of comedians, their work in progress is a kind of a fully fleshed out idea when they start, but it's just a matter of tweaking up kind of nuances and that sort of thing. Yeah. When they do the sort of work in progress shows, like in previews or actually in Edinburgh. So how long and how drastic are the changes that take place during your sort of writing during that period of testing stuff out?
Well, this one in particular has been really interesting because it started off being a lot longer and a lot baggier. and I've now sort of cut out. I used to be afraid it wouldn't work, and so I used to like buffer it at the beginning with like, a bit of stuff. And now bit by bit, I'm finding that I don't even need any of that anymore. So I just drop that. And this one is now sort of I've actually expanded it without putting in many more jokes. I just throw an intonation and a few things like that, and a bit more, razzmatazz.
Yeah.
And suddenly it becomes palatable a lot more.
Yeah.
Even when the idea and the sort of the not violence of the thing, but the energy of it isn't lost anymore.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
I do see what you mean. Sort of like fleshing out the voice rather than the actual jokes.
Yeah.
Give it kind of this more human, more humane, I suppose.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, how do you find? I mean, so I'm not trying to ask any questions. I don't want to leave the interview because basically, this is my documentary about me.
Okay.
But I want to subject myself to it.
Yeah.
I want to become the subject of it, and to do that, I need as many things to happen to me that I don't have control of. Hence why this sort of interview style. But also, I think it's interesting to find out, about you, because you become, instead of me asking the questions about what you are and who you are as a person, you get to ask me, and thus we sort of open up a different avenue of research.
Yeah. I like that largely.
Do you want to hold the camera for a second? I'm just going to text my girlfriend to tell her where we are.
Keep you on the frame there.
Yeah, have you ever done any camera stuff before?
Camera stuff. Do you mean if I ever filmed myself or
anything? Any sort of film work?
Passingly, only very passingly. I kind of am I in frame?
Can you see that?
Yeah,
I can't really look at anymore.
That's right. I've been involved in a bunch of projects, friends projects, where they've been filming me, and I guess I've kind of helped out in the editing process, but not really. It's something that's kind of, I really want to learn how to do it, and actually one of my big things after Edinburgh, I think, is not necessarily writing more, but learning how to, do the kind of techie sort of video filming and stuff. So I'm going to buy a camera, I think, and learn how to edit. It's always kind of intimidating.
It's a really cool skill.
Yeah.
It's really interesting you learn about how TV is made in a really interesting way, and how media is made, and it's kind of bizarre. You have to learn their rhythms and what they do, and then it becomes really fascinating to sort of get under the skin in that way. And it becomes quite a malicious, but very maybe it's asinine is the word. The process of it is very, I don't know.
Or like
it's numb. It's a very numb, but slightly violent, slightly, I don't know. There's something about it. I can't quite get my head around.
There's a lot of stuff. When people talk about Hitchcock's editing style, they often describe it as quite sadistic in a weird sort of way.
Yeah.
Like the idea of his cutting it. Like I don't know, the cutting process is all about the director splicing up and choosing a particular perspective on the action. It's all about a person imposing their own perspective on what's already been filmed, or this kind of like live action footage, as it were. So in that respect, it has a kind of I can see what you mean when you say it's got a kind of violence to it. Even words like cutting up and splicing and those sorts of words have kind of evoke that sort of violence. It actually really interests me. That whole process. Like the ability to impose a kind of perspective or a kind of focalizing point on some kind of unarranged material. Like arranging something that's already been provided for you, kind of. If that makes sense. I've always quite liked editing in a weird sort of way. And it does, even just like kind of editing grammatically, because it does give me that kind of quite egotistical satisfaction of like, aha, you're wrong there, I'm going to correct that, I'm going to change it, and that word's misspelled, or that phrasing I don't think is good enough, I'm going to alter it for you. And it's very much about imposing your perspective on someone else's already pre-formed material, and it doesn't have the kind of anxiety you get when you like compose material from, blank page yourself. The process is very much like you're given something and it's up to you to, cut it up. You don't have that kind of quite anxious process of like, oh God, what am I writing? My idea is okay. Like, am I a good writer? Am I writing skillfully enough? What perspective am I? Technically, is it good? That kind of quite anxious, quite self-deprecating is not the word, but like it's quite a self-effacing process, kind of and quite kind of examinatory, I suppose. When you've got the material provided for you, you can just exercise. You can just swing your dick around, and just like fucking smash it all up, and it's really fun. That sounds really weird.
That's the phrase that will be in the documentary.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Swing your
dick around. That's a nice way of putting it. That's kind of what editing is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're marking it, you know.
Absolutely.
But using your dick as a sort of a weapon on the piece.
Yeah. Just slapping it down, smearing it around.
Right. What are you doing now? Do you mind if we walk and talk?
Yeah, should we walk and talk? Yeah. Is that? I mean, I sort of aware that I talk for quite a long.
No, that's what I want. I don't want to have. I want you to be in it. By the way, are you okay for this to be in my documentary on YouTube?
Oh, cheese. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I just
I hereby give my consent.
Yeah.
All recorded material to be used by Richard Hanrahan.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
So am I still?
Yeah, if you can.
I think so. My bag is going to be a bit.
I can do it if you.
Do you want to?
I'm very used to this now.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that I didn't. You see, I wouldn't have said to you, "What do you think about editing?"
Yeah.
But I think I feel like I've stumbled upon something that's genuinely of interest to you and which hasn't been explored elsewhere on YouTube about you as a person.
Oh sure. Oh God, no.
So 10 years time, when someone's looking up Max Fletcher, they'll be like, "Wow, he's actually got interest in editing." A perverse interest in it, if you will.
Exactly. A really weird sexual fascination.
Of course, well, maybe at that point you'd have worked in that sort of thing anyway.
Yeah. I actually very much hope to see proofreading when I get back.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, pretty. Yeah, no, that's quite good for. What level are you academically? Have you just had an undergrad?
Undergrad.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a master's, but I don't know. That's actually probably not that interesting around the delve into actually.
No, probably not.
But yeah, so.
Stairs.
So I guess back to your own comedy, if that's the sort of direction you...
Whatever you want.
Yeah. I guess I'm just sort of quite into this, because I don't know, I mean, coming to Fringe, I don't know, it's a place where you perform and you kind of establish yourself and that sort of thing, and other people see you, but it's also a point where you kind of reflect on, where you are in your writing, where you are in your career, and that sort of thing, and you ask yourself all sorts of questions about, what am I hoping to achieve by doing this, where am I going to go with it, and I'm just kind of interested in the kind of what keeps comedians like Ritual Say or George Whitaker, what keeps them in the game, what kind of galvanizes them to just keep writing when stuff, maybe when the chips are down and stuff are going quite badly. So when you did your first gigs and they went badly, as you said, as a Fringe, to start with, what was it? Why are you still doing it 7 or?
Well, because I was trying to observe and it just wasn't me. It wasn't until what sort of thing I do.
Yeah.
It was only I wrote this one set to do with words.
Yeah.
And immediately everyone went, "That's really good." And I just did that again and again and again. It was only when I started learning that you had to redo what you already knew. Yeah. What was already working, sort of for it to grow,
Yeah. No, sure thing. In that process of
We're actually going to head back to the library now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Okay.
let's go this
Sweet
way.
turn around.
Yeah, that's fine. I hate that. It's one of the worst things to do in the world.
That really is.
Is to do the stop and turn in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Because it shows an experience. It shows you don't know where you're going.
Exactly.
And it looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No one wants to see it. No one ever wants to see that in the street. It's like, oh God, what are the... I'm really interested in architecture and psychogeography.
Yeah.
In that sense, there's a situationist idea. There's the idea that the city is built in such a way that it controls and conditions the way we move to make it as sort of efficient as possible, so you don't realise where you are, what you're doing. And that very sort of abrupt stop and then turn is really out of place for a city.
Yeah.
Because it's not what the urban environment is built to do. It's built to sort of keep you going.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do this. I don't certainly do this. If I'm going the wrong way, I will continue and go round in a circle. Rather than stop, even though I just find that fascinating.
I absolutely do too. I mean, I kind of do this thing when I realise all of a sudden I'm going the wrong direction and I need to go back, of kind of like patting my pockets and looking concerned, as if I sort of just left an important object that I need, at the place.
Or else what you can do is just like pretend to get a phone call. Go, sorry.
Okay.
there has to be a reason for you to have done it. It has to be, you know, and even though no one's watching, even though it's only you, there seems to be there's eyes everywhere, you know. That's the sort of
and I think it is quite like, I mean, imagine if that woman just over there, if she just literally stopped and turned around. I mean, we're not talking to her. We don't know what's going on in her head. She's just at the wrong end of it. It would just be. It would be just.
But I would feel genuinely disconcerted. I'd feel, is she a terrorist? Possibly. You know. We just don't know, do we?
Is there a bomb in there? Is that why she's turning around?
Exactly.
What does she know that I don't know? Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Yeah, I always kind of get it in malls as well.
Mall? Did you just say mall?
Mall.
Mall.
Shopping mall. Mall.
Mall. Mall. No, it is a mall, but I just don't think we call it a mall. I thought it was an American thing.
Oh, really?
What do you call a shopping
centre? Oh,
I like the mall though. So like a sort of the lion's den sort of mauling. My favourite new word at the moment. Sorry to interrupt you. Is the word feed. Is the Facebook feed. I think of it as like a trough of social network. I just think it's
I like that a lot.
And the word content as well. Content. Like, I've got to fill our thing with content. There's like something like it's so empty and just sort of
so blank,
mediocre. Just like it keeps you content, you know.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Sorry, we were saying about mall.
About malls. About
malls.
Shopping centres.
Shopping centre.
Hello, camera again. Shopping centres. Yeah. So I can't remember what author. Like I don't know. Frederick Jameson. That's it actually.
Yeah.
He wrote. He in the. I'd say something. The cultural logic of Lake. Book. Quite famous with published recently. There's an essay about the architecture of shopping centres. And he talks about how when you're in a shopping centre, there's no centre. It's all very dispersed, and everything's kind of arranged in a seemingly kind of illogical way, unlike a house where there are certain central rooms like living room, dining room, kitchen, that kind of thing. To kind of, and he says that the feeling you get when you're in a mall is a sort of sense of weightlessness or dislocation. And you kind of, it's like a suspension of the usual spatial alignments that keep you aware of where you are in sort of day-to-day life. And that effect of kind of weightlessness and dispersal increases your kind of comfortability, your comfort in the sort of spending situation that you, if you feel kind of dislocated from the normal, real world relations, then you don't mind about unbelting a large amount of money for something you may not need, or buying something impulsively, and you tend not to worry as much as when you're, But it also means that when I'm walking around, I just kind of really don't know where I'm going, like kind of floating around looking for a shop. I'd walk to the end of one floor and be like, oh, so the shop I'm looking for is upstairs. And then just kind of drift back. I don't know. It's very difficult to describe. But it's a really kind of quite queasy feeling. And you just kind of air around, just kind of drift around in a way that you wouldn't outside like a library, say, or in a sort of public square, maybe.
The term for that sort of thing is phantasmagoric, I think that's Walter Benjamin sort of talks about these early shopping architectures, sort of spaces, these in Paris particularly, you get these sort of brilliantly lit but sort of empty, the arcade stuff, that sort of phantasmagorical. I just love that as an idea. And I was trying to write an essay about that to do with Millbank when the protests when they were smashing it up. It had a sort of and to do with the city of glass as a sort of whole world built on financial capitalism. But like that sort of sense of the way the materials reflect what is happening today. There's a sense of building a city that's trying to get that sort of sense of weightlessness. And an implied, not invisibility, but transparency.
Absolutely,
But still strong and still restricting. So that you can't actually go anywhere,
I read quite an interesting, someone writing about the way that the glass in these big buildings, you can both see through it, but it reflects as well. It's like a mirror, but it's not. It's kind of transparent, but it's also defensive. Like you see yourself.
It shows you a space. It shows you a space, but at the same time, it doesn't allow you to. Hang on. Max, it'd be very interesting. If you've got time, we'd love to do some more talking. And we can try. But if that's. But imagine, look at what we've talked about, and technically, I've not interviewed you at all. We're talking about some quite interesting things that are very dear to me and are essential for the documentary. So that's thank you very much. You've got a show.
I've got a show, 2:45 every day. Well, it's oh,
Yeah,
God.
it'll go up
Shall I
quickly.
promote it?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
go for it,
Okay. 2:45 every day at the Dram House on Guthrie Street. It's in the room called the Sneak It, which is just halfway up. It's kind of difficult to find, which, for me at least, explains the low audience members. I'm sure there are other factors, but yeah, Guthrie Street, Max Fletcher. It's called Fail Better. It's wonderful, absolutely 4 stars actually. Recently reviewed.
Oh,
in 3
fantastic.
weeks. Really good.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, really pleased.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, then go see that.
Yeah.
All right, I shall see you soon. Bye.